I'm going to do something today that I've never done, so I'm a little nervous. I'm actually going to review a video, uh, but fortunately, it's one of our old videos with Calvin Williams of Freeman Capital. And I'm going to add some things to it. I'm going to add some things into it that's a little bit beyond wealth building. And yeah, it should be fun tonight. Should be fun. So let me see here. Come here and just get into YouTube and Facebook so I can make sure I can grab everybody's comments. YouTube and Facebook. And again, if you're just getting in here, don't forget to put your city and state in the chat so I can recognize you today. We've got Savannah, Georgia in the house. We've got Augusta, Georgia. We've got St. Paul, Minnesota, Miami, from Tacoma, Washington. We've got Kansas. We got another Kansas in the house, Kansas City, Missouri. We got Denver, Colorado. I want to thank all of you for being here today in order for us to talk about the steps to building family wealth. Again, my name is Cherie of the 10K Project. We are asking all of our family on Facebook and YouTube to please like the video. That helps with the algorithms. Please like the video. And if you are on YouTube, please also subscribe to our channel as well. We are doing something a little bit different today. We are going to review a video. So I've never done that before, but we should have a good time today with regards to the steps to building family wealth. And I will say that the video that we're going to review is actually a 10K Project video done by Calvin Williams. And I'm going to explain why he's so significant to us. And then we're also going to layer on a few extra things with regards to what he's saying based on some of the things I'm seeing economically, macroeconomically, and some of the things that I think that we need to be paying attention to as, Americans, as Black Americans, et cetera. So first thing I'd like to do is introduce you to the 10K Project. We are the largest community of Black investors who actively fund Black-owned businesses. So the way that it works is kind of like a Shark Tank for Black people. Every week, we invite a Black entrepreneur to come and present their business to our community. The businesses are doing some sort of crowdfunding, which is governed by the Securities and Exchange Commission and FINRA, which stands for the Financial Industry Regulation Authority. And they offer shares or partial ownership in their business in exchange for our investment. So we get to be partial owners in these businesses. So the way that it works is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we have an entrepreneur that comes, they present their information to us. They present their business to us, and then we have an opportunity to ask them questions. So this is an opportunity where we get to engage with the founder, ask them questions, and then each individual person gets to decide if they want to invest in that business. Oftentimes, the minimum investment is $100, and we have a lot of fun. We support Black businesses by investing in them, and through those investments, they're able to create jobs. They're able to grow their businesses. We're finally able to profit from our own innovation, and we are ultimately able to work together to build Black wealth. So group economics 2.0. So we've taken what Dr. Claude Anderson has talked about in Powernomics, and we have made it, a little bit more relevant or twisted it a little bit based on some of the opportunities that we have within the law. So if this sounds exciting to you, then definitely check us out, the10kproject.com, and you can be a part of what we are doing. So the other thing that I want to announce is this, that next week we are hosting something called Family and Friend Day. And put a one in the chat if you grew up in the Black church. Put a one in the chat if you grew up in the Black church. I want to see how many people grew up in the Black church. All right, good. I'm seeing the ones coming through. So y'all are familiar with Family and Friend Day. Basically, it's an opportunity for us to invite others to come and see what we're doing. So we are going to have a grand prize of $100 of an Amazon gift card for the person who invites the most people, and those people must be on the line when we give away the $100 prize. So instead of us paying all of these other people to help bring more people to the 10K project, we'd rather, give that money back to the community. So we're also going to have other games and prizes as well next week. And we are going to have a special guest. And this guest is actually two men. They are picking up where Tawana and I left off with regards to group economics. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, hey, Charlotte from Memphis, thank you so much. She's saying happy Labor Day. Thank you so much, Charlotte. So you want to, number one, be here. That is next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. You want to tell your family and friends, please do. We're going to talk a little bit more about the 10K project, answer questions. We're going to have games and prizes. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to have these special guests come in to talk about what they're doing and how it aligns to us and what we are doing within the 10K project. That is, and we will be bombarding you this week, I'll be honest, with emails and text messages between now and next Monday. So just, get the emails, get the text messages, please pass them on to your family, friends, network, etc. Say, hey, it would be really great if you're able to come to this. This should be a lot of fun. We will keep it to an hour so that way we can respect everyone's time next week. So that is happening. Okay, so tonight's conversation, we're actually going to do a bit of a throwback to Calvin Williams. So Calvin Williams is a wealth coach. And the significance of Calvin Williams is if you become a part of the 10K project and you upgrade to platinum, he is, and his company is the wealth coaching company that we have partnered with in order to help you and your families develop wealth plans. Okay. So I was, I had a lot of stuff written down. I'm probably going to add some stuff towards the end of it, but it's going to be a bit of a reaction video to some of the things that Calvin initially talked about. I'm going to add some other things in there. We're going to talk a little bit about the family wealth book if we have time as well. And overall, this is just a chance for us to interact. I'll probably throw some questions out to all of you as well as you are listening to this. So I'm going to share my screen here and make sure that I put on. And I'm going to start playing here. Let me know if you hear Calvin speak. So.
Who may not know me, but as she stated, my name is Calvin Williams. I am the founder of Freeman Capital. Freeman Capital is the first security and it's a security commissions. That's the first security and exchange commission registered automated wealth building platform in the nation that is Black owned. And so our whole focus is how can we help close the racial wealth gap, and how can we help people build not just wealth but generational wealth? Because the statistics are very, very clear. which is that those people who have a financial plan, who have a wealth plan, they literally have double the wealth of those who do not. And so just having this.
So let me first say that I definitely believe this. I've heard this in the health area as well. When you actually have a plan, you have a greater chance of success. Oh, perfect. Denise is saying you can hear him. Great. Yeah, so you have a greater chance of success. And having a written plan for yourself, if you have a spouse, if you have kids, if you have parents, having a written plan that all of you can agree on is going to move the family so much farther than if you say, hey, we want to build wealth, but there is nothing strategic, there's nothing written. So I do think number one is you want to decide that this is something that you want to do. And actually not only deciding with your mind, but deciding with your time and deciding with your dollars. And I'm not saying deciding with your dollars because we want you to leverage Freeman Capital through 10K. I'm saying it because it's vital for you to potentially get some assistance with the wealth coaching and wealth building that you're doing. So, whether we want you to use Freeman Capital if you choose to do so. However, if you choose to go someplace else, if you choose to, leverage other options, that's okay too. But I do think that that's important. And I think that what he's saying here about having that written plan and acting on that written plan is going to take you so much farther. So let's continue listening.
This one key pillar is the first foundational step in building wealth in your family and then generational wealth for future families as well. So with my time, I asked this to be very interactive. Feel free, as she said, to jump in and ask questions, and we'll kind of weave them in as we go forward. What I'm going to cover is what is a wealth plan exactly? How can one help you? And then what are the key parts for you to identify no matter what stage you are at? And then how to deploy this wealth plan to be able to build generational wealth for your life. And then I'm going to leave you with a couple of specific steps, things that you can start on tonight, today, to help you move forward in building that wealth for you and your family. So with no further ado, let's just jump right in. So what is a wealth plan? A wealth plan is it's a next version of a financial plan. Financial plan is something that we may have heard of. They may think of is a budget, is a spending plan, but they really start with the beginning of what type of life do you want to have? So your wealth and your finances should be enabling you to live the type of life that you want. And that.
Okay, so I'm going to stop him right here. So this is important, and I wanted to add something else in there as well. When we look at family wealth within the 10K project, we have a book called Family Wealth by James Hughes Jr. That you can get on Amazon. We have set up our whole family bank information with regards to family wealth in this book. And if you are new to the 10K project, you can go into the Knowledge Center and check out the entire family wealth program based on it's Family Bank Challenge is what it's called within the 10K project Knowledge Center. But a couple of things to note is that within family wealth, you want to think 4 generations. So the average family just thinks 1 generation. We just think about ourselves, or we may think about ourselves and our children. But truly wealthy families think 4 generations out. And when we're talking with regards to building a family wealth plan, and I'm sure that Freeman Capital does this, they want you to think farther out as well, because it's not enough for us to just have family wealth in this lifetime. We need to think about it with regards to multiple generations. So I'm going to let Calvin continue here.
That is what a personal wealth plan is designed to do. It then includes those aspects, and then how to build a lifestyle, which will then enable you to enjoy the multiple types of wealth that we have. You have
So I want to talk about the lifestyle as well. I agree with this too. I think that I have seen people who have sacrificed everything in their lives for future generations. And it's important for you to think about the lifestyle that you want, as well as the lifestyle that you want to provide for the generations to come. So I very much like the fact that he says this, but I do want to add that on as well. Let's continue.
Financial wealth, you have health wealth, you have time, and then you of course have the spending time with those that you love. And so because we live in a world that is rooted in economics, the personal wealth plan helps you to do the rest of those things. And so it's all about you figuring out how to get you to a point of being financially independent in the avenues that you best like. So it could be related to the stock market. It could be starting, with the whole be your own bank movement. It could be through real estate or business. It has to be personalized for just you. There are no two wealth plans that are the same. And many financial advisors, I am one as well, are going to really focus you on investing in the stock market. But it's so much bigger than just that. There are multiple ways of building wealth.
So I like the fact that he talks about this as well. So the reason that so many uh, uh, financial advisors talk about stock so much is that's because that's how they make their money. But we have spoken at the 10K project about, you know, having number one is you want to have opportunities where you're beating inflation, and stocks are one way of doing that. So, inflation is about 3 to 5% a year. You want to get into investments that beat that. So, there are a few that I suggest people look into. Again, do your own research, but tax liens. You can start your family bank and your family wealth plan with investing in tax liens. You can invest in um, real estate, for example. You can be a landlord. You can invest in other aspects of real estate. You can have a wealth plan that includes some of the private businesses. This is how the rich invest in the stock market is they get into these businesses early, which is why you see a lot of angel investors and venture capital now flooding the equity crowdfunding market like we're doing within the 10K project. Crypto. Now, again, please do your research about crypto, but there are people who are going to have crypto as part of their wealth plan. So I'm appreciative of Calvin for saying it's not just about stocks. It is about being able to plug your money in to something that is diversified and helps you beat inflation. That's the name of the game here. Let's continue.
And you just have to find what is your guide to do that. And so the way to build a wealth plan. So here are the key things to figure out when you are trying to build your wealth plan. The first thing is to figure out how do you want to spend your time. That is paramount because the reality is most of us are working not just because of work, but because we are getting that check every 2 weeks or every month. And so as that being as our pillar, we then have to figure out like what is the real reason why we are working. Are we doing this so that we can, retire in 50 years, in 10 years? Do we want to live a life post COVID when we can, where we can travel a bit more? Like what are the key things you want to do in your world, and then figure out what are some of the costs of doing that. Are you someone who loves being on beaches, and so you really would love to spend half of your year at a beach? Like, and what does that lifestyle look like? And so you want to start with what you want to do, and that can be from these material things, but it can include just how do you want to spend your time, and then who do you want to spend it with, and where are you? Go through this whole vision experience. I mean, it's kind of like taking a vision board on steroids. Like, imagine if finances weren't a problem for you. If you were Jeff Bezos sitting on $100 billion, how would you spend your time? And then build that dream. And then now we start there and we work backwards, because often many of us are making the choices on how we spend our time based on what is in our bank account right now, instead of saying, where do I want to be? And then how do I get there?
I'm appreciative of him talking about this as well. So um, it is difficult. It is difficult for us to not have enough money, to have more month than money, but still say, hey, you know what? I'm going to work towards a better future, a better economic future. Maybe this won't pay off as easily as just going to get a part-time job, but I know that it's going to pay off more. So some of you are starting side hustles. Some of you are thinking about Black Friday, for example, which is in about 11 weeks. And, being able to take advantage of Black Friday and make money during the holiday season, things like that. So I would encourage you, as you're thinking about these things, to recognize that sometimes, now, if you don't have your basic living expenses, I definitely understand. But if you do, but you just can't take that vacation, or you just can't do something else that's bigger. For me, it is that I really want to pay off like all of my debt, um, and I want to have a lot of money working for me in a portfolio. Well, there are baby steps that are there as well, and it doesn't include going to get a part-time job. So I just wanted to have you all think about that as well as you're listening. So we're going to continue.
And so the first thing that we really challenge our clients with is having them shift their mind from what is in my account now to where do I want to be, and then let them figure out how to get there. So you want to figure out, one, how to spend your time. Second, where do you want to live? Because the cost of living is a big deal and it is going to impact you. Are you more of a city person? Do you want to live in the suburbs, or kind of bi-coastal where you're flipping back and forth? All of these are the types of questions that you want to ask. And then the next step in like this visioning that we are doing is like, what type of expenses do you see that you may have to take care of? Myself, I am the oldest of my parents, and my wife is the only child. So although I hope and pray, and they have their own plans, that both of my parents and my in-laws will be good. But what if I have to take care of it? Like, what if it falls back on me? And I would imagine that most of the folks on this call are kind of like the ones in the family who people rely on. And so that's just a part of our culture. It's just, as we dream, we have to accept the reality as well. So like for me, I have put into my wealth plan, who do I need to take care of? Potentially. If I don't need to spend the money, that's even better. But if I do, at least there's a plan for that. I have two nephews. If something happens with my sister, who's going to step in? So it's like all of these factors are like, how would you spend and support those if you have to?
Okay, so he's bringing up a great point here. Within our family bank challenge, we had an estate planning consultant come and speak with us with regards to those things, getting your paperwork together if you have kids, who's going to take care of your nieces and nephews, or let's say that you have a best friend who needs you to be a guardian, who's going to take care of your kids. Having that paperwork together is so important. Hadija is saying, yes, I am the leader in the family. Yeah, so many of us are the economic leaders of our families. And, we can't say it's fair, it's not fair. We just have to say it is, and we have to be able to adjust because of it. So, yeah.
And so that is kind of that next key step that you have to do. Now, when you have those three things, then you really have your vision put in place. And so now it comes down to, how do you build generational wealth? And at Freeman Capital, we do it around three key areas. The first is around wealth foundations. The second is wealth behaviors. And then the third are wealth successes. The wealth foundations are things that you just have to have in order to begin to build wealth. Things like, do you know your net worth? Do you know, what your credit score is, or what your debts are, or what your investment portfolios are? You might not have much in there, but do you know what it is? That's the foundation. We at Freeman have over 15 different wealth foundations that we take our clients through and help them accelerate that and then fill those gaps as fast as possible.
So I appreciate this as well. So one of the things that I wrote on my piece of paper here is, knowing where you're starting from and actually putting together a family income statement and a family balance sheet. And it seems like Freeman Capital here, he does do this. He has basically, you plug in some information and you're able to tell the health, the financial health of your family as it is today versus where you want it to be. And I liken this to, your weight. You may have gained 30 pounds during the pandemic. Okay, that's fine. Everyone starts someplace. We get on the scale, we figure out where we are, we figure out where we want to be. We say, okay, we need to cut back on this, this, and this. We need to add more walking in. We're emptying out all of the junk food in the house, things like that. So just like health, your wealth plan is the same way. It's like, oh, I don't have an emergency fund. Oh, I don't have great credit, or I have great credit, but my spouse doesn't. We need to fix that, or we don't have enough money to invest in uh, some of the income producing things that are out there. So this part of the foundation literally is just like getting a health checkup. And again, I'm appreciative of that. I'm appreciative of what he's talking about here. I also want to say something else that most people may not think about. And depending on the amount of time that we have, I'll show you some additional things. Automation is coming. I did a session with the real Dana yesterday on her YouTube channel, and within the next 10 years, about 4.5 million Black people are expected to lose their jobs due to automation. This is not Cherie saying this. This isn't even Black Enterprise saying this. This is a McKinsey report that said this in 2019, and everything was accelerated because of the pandemic. So within your wealth foundation, one of the things you want to ask yourself is, how stable is my income going to be throughout the time that I need to enact this wealth plan? Because if you know that automation is coming for your job, if you know that your industry is shifting, then maybe some of the time and money you're allocating to getting to where you want to be is in you skilling up. And that's one of the things we've been talking about here on this channel, is the need for some of us to increase our skills. And sometimes the skilling up that needs to happen, and this is where I am right now, is in our entrepreneurial skills. I have invested quite heavily over the past year and a half in my entrepreneurial skills. So if you're not getting enough leads in your business, if you're not closing enough, if you don't have great operations, if you don't have the right team, that is affecting your ability to fund your wealth plan. And I hope what I'm saying is making sense here. So Latrice is saying, yes, I plan to get some certifications under my belt. Absolutely. Get certifications under your belt. Some of us need to network more. Some of us need to network with the right people in order to secure ourselves financially, et cetera. So we're going to continue here with Calvin.
Then the second thing is around wealth behaviors. Now, this is really where the rubber begins to meet the road. Because when you went through that exercise of figuring out how do you want to spend your time, where do you want to live, and then how are you going to spend your money, and then who will you support, that will give you some sort of a number to kind of look at. And you can look at that number in one of two ways. You can look at it in terms of a total number, like something, $5 million, or on a monthly basis. Is that, in my, dream, it would be a total spend of $15,000 per month, $5,000 per month, whatever that number is, right? And then when you have that, and then you compare that to your wealth behaviors, that is where you can really see what levers can you pull to help you get there faster. And so the things that we like to help folks figure out and kind of think through are in terms of their investing. What are the investments that you are already interested in, or that you are open to being exposed to?
So wealth behaviors. I think that this is so important. And again, I talked about it with regards to health, just because I think that it's easier for people to understand. If you say, hey, I want to lose that 30 pounds I gained during quarantine, but you're still eating the cookies, then your wealth behavior sorry, then your health behavior is not congruent with where you say you want to be. Well, the same thing with our money. If we say, hey, we want an emergency fund, but then we're going out to eat every day. And I'm a fan of eating out, but you know, but we haven't done that. Or you want an emergency fund, but you have not set up a separate account and set up the ACH drafts or anything like that. I personally use an app called Stash for my emergency fund, and every month Stash goes in, and actually it's every 2 weeks they go in and take a certain amount of money out of my account, and that's my emergency fund. And I have enough money for a couple of mortgages. So, if and that's like what I'm responsible for in the house is the mortgage. So at least I know that that's taken care of. If something happens to my car, I have an emergency fund. So you want to think the same way. You want to really be honest, and your family wants to be honest about if you're not reaching your wealth goals, really taking a look at your behaviors and asking yourself, honestly, are we doing the simple things that we need to do? Because oftentimes it's not the complex stuff. Oftentimes it's the simple stuff. If your wealth plan says, hey, I need to double my income in the next 3 years, my wife wants to have a baby and I want her to stay home, I don't want my kid in daycare. Well, then if your wealth behavior is, I've got to get the certification, I got to go out and network with some people, I got to get another job that's going to pay me more, I got to move up the economic ladder. So then I would ask you, hey, have you um, for a wealth behavior, have you scheduled that time? Have you talked to your wife and said, look, babe, I'm doing this, but I need 5 hours a week to study for this, to do this, so I can be at the top of my game so that we can progress forward? That's where the wealth behaviors really come in. And I see the chat is lighting up here. I love it. Um, Charlotte is saying, I had to move to EMR that I was fighting. Okay. I don't quite understand that. I'm sorry, Charlotte. Latrice is saying I use Stash as well. Jackie is saying me too. Yeah, so there are a couple of apps. I just found Stash first. I really like it. I also invest a little bit on Stash too. So Charlotte's saying I have different buckets to save and to invest. Yeah, absolutely. So these are wealth behaviors. And sometimes a wealth behavior is a set it and forget it. Like my stash comes out every 2 weeks without fail, and I set it one time and I forget it. Other times, it's something you have to do over and over again. Morgan is saying I use Stash and Acorns. Yeah, absolutely. So you want to definitely have those wealth behaviors in there. So we're going to continue with Calvin here.
And so for some of our clients, they are only focused on investing via real estate. Others are doubling down on their business. Others are doing it through insurance and through the stock market. But you have to figure out what investment tools do you already feel comfortable with, and then which ones are you going to take the next steps on in terms of investing. And then when you're looking at your wealth behaviors, you want to look at the last 3 and 6 months. How have you saved money? Is your saving increasing in the last 3 to 6 months? Do you have an emergency fund? If you are you investing in the way that the US government wants you to? And I say it in that fashion because when you invest the way the US government wants you to, you pay less taxes. So let's break down what that means. If you have $1,000 and you get paid $8,000 from your job, and they take taxes out, you're left with, let's just say, $500. You pay a whole lot in taxes. You take that $500 and then you then invest that with any sort of place, Robinhood or Charles Schwab or whomever. That is a post-tax investment. And when you invest via post-tax, you have to pay capital gains, which is when the government takes their money off of your gains in investing. And this is primarily for the stock market. If you are first going to invest via your retirement, the US government is not going to claim capital gains taxes every single year, only when you withdraw at your age of retirement. That means that via most retirement vehicles, your money can grow tax deferred. So when I say things like invest in the way that the US government wants you to, they are encouraging you to invest in the way that they take the least money if you do it in the right vehicle by setting up your retirement. And so we check all of those behaviors to make sure that you keep as much of those gains as you can and not have to pay taxes too early.
So this is how the rich invest as well. They use the tax code to their benefit and to their betterment. And a lot of this is, a lot of these laws and regulations are things that we're able to take advantage of as well. I'll tell you another regulation. If you have a business, if you are opening up a family bank, and if you have kids, hiring those kids through the family bank instead of paying them, instead of giving them an allowance. So this is how it works. And CYA, check with your accountant on this, but you can pay your child up to $12,500 through $12,500 a year through your business. So if you've got a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old, put them in charge of filing. Some of them are really great with basic online research. If you've got a teenager, 13, 14 years old, make them a part of the company and actually pay them part of your family bank or part of your company in exchange for them doing your social media or other things that they are naturally good at. This is where we start leveraging the code that others are using in order to bring more money into our family. Depending on the types of investments that you want, a lot of wealthy people are putting their money into opportunity zone funds. Now, again, do your research, but we have had Vinroy July come on the 10K project. You can find his videos. He's done 2 of them within the 10K project. And he talks about how anybody can start an opportunity zone fund and invest in opportunity zones. And with that, you are alleviating capital gains if you invest over a certain period of time. Again, CYA, check with your attorney, check with your accountant with regards to these. But what Calvin is saying is true, that oftentimes, because we either don't know the tax codes or don't know how to leverage these tax codes, we are losing tens of thousands of dollars, even hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially over the lifetime of our investments as a people. So we want to be smarter about that. Cassandra saying, thanks for the reminder. I came across an app called Tally, is an app that is supposed to help you pay down debt faster. Author saying, thank you. Latrice saying, so true. Yeah. So these are again, wealth behaviors that we want to not only think about, we want to learn more about them, and we want to put them into action. So let's keep going. We have another 3 minutes, everybody, of this.
So you want to look at things like that. And a big thing is around ratios. There are over 10 different ratios of spending. It's things like your debt to income ratio, there is your investing to income ratio. There is your income to your credit score. There are all of these ratios that we walk folks through to make sure that they are being put into the best position possible. I'm happy to share that with the 10K folks later, and they can email it out. But you want to look at how are your ratios looking, because that right there will tell you what trajectory are you on. Are you on a trajectory of building wealth, or spinning your wheels, or in a worst case, losing your wealth? And so when you have gone through these like 30 some steps in terms of your wealth behavior, and at Freeman Capital, we help our folks do it with monthly meetings, then it comes down to how to help you get to more wealth successes.
And I love the fact that Freeman Capital has monthly meetings. I'm going to show you really quickly the 10kproject.com/investor. We actually have arranged a platinum membership with Freeman Capital, where you can get them to help you walk you through all of these things. It's a one-time fee of $347. If you're already a member, you just pay the upgrade. You go into the Knowledge Center, and it'll tell you how to upgrade for $247. And you can get 6 months of financial planning by by Freeman Capital, by the team at Freeman Capital, which includes the personalized wealth plan, the unlimited meetings, the investment planning, lifestyle planning, insurance review and analysis, recommendations on improving your credit score, reducing debt, legacy building. This is a Black company, so because of that, they understand our unique needs within the community. And our goal when Tawana and I started working together, and even Dr. Keisha and Eric and Talisha, shout out to them. We didn't just want to be a place that was focused on, hey, come and invest in these companies, right? We want to make sure that everybody who is a part of the 10K project is financially healthy, overall, holistically, financially healthy. So that's why Tawana's worked so hard to put this together. And again, those meetings during the 6-month period, like, hey, am I on the right track? Hey, I have another question, is so important in your wealth building journey. So I wanted to show that to you. the10kproject.com/investors, and you are able to take advantage of that. So Arthur's giving me the heart sign. I love it, Arthur. Okay, so we have another minute and a half. Let's see here.
These are those key milestones that when you achieve them, you are signifying that that you are now one step closer to getting to your wealth goal. It could be having a 700 credit score, buying your first or second home, buying having your business hit a certain goal in terms of net profits. Is over 15 different successes that you could have in your life, which would then determine if you are moving toward building generational wealth. And so those are the key things that we do with Freeman Capital. And I would just recommend that if this is something that is new to you, so find someone who can help you take you through this whole wealth building journey, because there's so much that you could spend time and money on, and we want to make sure that you spend it on the most valuable thing at the right time. And so in summary, or in a closing rather, the 3 things to make sure that you can focus on right now to put you in a position to build wealth is to start with the end in mind with that vision board. Determine your net worth, which is your assets minus everything that you owe, and then compare your ratios of how your spending, investing, and debts are growing. And then the third and final thing is to continue to investigate or find out what investments can help you close that gap in terms of where you are and where you want to be in the next 5, 10, or 30 years. I'll pause for any questions as well.
All right, so that is the session. That is the session that we did with Freeman Capital. It was done it's on the 10K Project YouTube page. It is public. Calvin then went through close to 40 minutes of answering questions. The community had all sorts of questions for him. So you're able to check that out. It's Create Your Wealth Plan, Calvin Williams Jr. As the guest. So that is on the 10K Project page there. And you are able to hear that. He also came and did another session for us about building wealth. So you're able to hear both of those. But these are some of the steps that we are thinking of implementing with regards to building wealth. So I have not been looking at my YouTube family here. So I want to come here and check out everybody on YouTube. So we have Trent here from Suffolk, Virginia. Hey, Trent, everybody in YouTube, if you wouldn't mind giving us a thumbs up as well. Same thing on Facebook, please. We have Dr. Virginia from Atlanta. Hello, hello. We have Mr. Leisure saying thank you guys for all you do. We appreciate you too. Thank you so much. The Facebook family is in here. Want to thank everybody on Facebook for being here as well, sharing your Labor Day with us. Okay, so let's see here. Chessie gives me a thumbs up. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, so those are some of the things that you want to think about with regards to the steps to building family wealth. The final thing that I will show you tonight is This is from our original Family Wealth Book Club session that we had a while ago. And I just want to remind you about some things with regards to family wealth, multi-generational wealth. Again, the book in the right-hand corner is Family Wealth by James Hughes Jr. It is on Amazon. I do suggest that people get it. You are also able to come into the Knowledge Center, so you have to be a member for this. There was a family that started off with, Black family started off with $25 per month per family member, and now have seven figures of assets within that family. That was the beginning of the Family Bank Challenge. It is the Preston and Cook family. They came, they spent an hour and a half with us. They talked about how they did it, how they got started, the documents that they put together, the meetings that they had, what they did with family members that didn't want to participate. They talked about how they set up their family lending so that other family members could come to the family bank and actually borrow from the family bank, things like that. And it was based on this book called Family Wealth by James Hughes Jr. So if you are a member of the 10K Project, it's $100 to be a basic member of the 10K Project, and you get access to that as well as the entire Family Bank Challenge that we had, where we talked with so many experts with regards to how to set up your family bank, how to run it, and how to build generational wealth. So again, $100 one-time payment for all of that, and it's $347 if you want to work with Calvin and his team, as well as being a member of the 10K Project and getting participating in the Red on Black pitches. So I wanted to show this here just because I want to show you in the book the fact that they talk about, again, this is the book that says that with family wealth, we're looking at 4 generations of family wealth. That is true family multi-generational wealth. And most families, even outside of the Black community, only make it to 3 generations of family wealth, and then it's squandered in the 4th generation. So the book really spoke, they interviewed families that had kept their wealth for 4 generations or more. And he talks about the fact that there are 3 forms of family wealth. There's the human, the intellectual, and the financial. And oftentimes we think that the financial is the most important part of wealth within a family. However, what James Hughes Jr. talks about is the fact that human and intellectual wealth is more important than financial wealth. If you do not cultivate, if we do not cultivate our children, our grandchildren, our great grandchildren, if we do not prepare them for the world that is coming that we can't even think about right now, if we don't help them navigate this, then we can leave them all sorts of financial resources and they're not going to be able to hang on to it. So it's active stewardship of our human and intellectual capital that helps us preserve our financial capital. So what's human capital? It is the individuals that make up the family. Intellectual capital are the knowledge, skills, and values of each family member. In other words, everybody has knowledge, everybody has a talent in the family, everyone has skills in the family, and everyone has networks in the family, whether someone is part of a church or a sorority, fraternity, business association, etc. Helping our family members actually cultivate those things leads to financial capital. In other words, there's a guy named Grant Cardone that I used to follow a lot. I don't follow him as much anymore, but he used to say, you can't get money without people. You got to have people. You have to have a team. Nobody does it alone. So these are the 3 forms of capital that James Hughes Jr. talks about. And this slide right here, I really wanted to impress on you. There's a metaphor in the book that talks about the copper beech tree. And it is the strongest tree, or one of the strongest trees that are out there, but it takes 150 years to mature. The people who plant the tree, i.e., you and me in this generation, if we're first generation wealth builders, we will never see this tree fully grown. But we still must love and nurture it and believe in it and have patience with it, even though other people can't see it fully bloomed. Someone must love and have patience and nurture it, even when the hurricanes, the ice, the snow, the pests, the pandemic comes to consume it while the tree is too young to withstand those hazards. And then as it matures, others may want to cut it down for its wood. What that means is once you die, your children may say, hey, mama died. She left us $500,000 in life insurance. We're going to go get a Bentley. We're going to go get a Range Rover. No, 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 right? Um, or, other things that people may want. So the true generational wealth comes from multiple generations taking care of the wealth that the family is building, even though they may not live to see the wealth grow to the levels of, I'll say it, a Rothschild, um, what's other old money? The Waltons that own Walmart, etc. Um, and we have to be comfortable with that as well. Now, I'm not a fan of, again, leave everything to your kids and never have anything for yourself and never have any fun in your own life. I'm not a fan of that. However, we do want to be honest with ourselves as we're going through this wealth building journey that a lot of the wealth that we are planting right now for our families, we may never see mature. Sasha's saying here, have to leave a bit early, but thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Sasha. Thank you for being here tonight. So let's see if we have any other comments here. I don't see any other comments in YouTube or Facebook. So I want to remind everyone about Family and Friend Day next week. We are going to be sending out emails. There's a Zoom link that we're going to be sending to everyone. We're going to ask you to pass it along. You will be bombarded with emails and text messages from us, but just pass it along. We recognize that the best way for us to grow and the ways we have grown over the past couple of months has been people referring other people in. So that is why we're hosting Family and Friend Day next week. It's a $100 Amazon gift card to whomever invites the most people. Those people must be in Zoom to be counted. And we're going to have other games and prizes as well. We're going to have a good time. We have a special guest, actually two guests that are coming that we think you'll really like as well. So with that, we'll end a little early tonight. Charlotte, yes, see you next week. Latrice is saying, yes, I'll tell everyone I know about your organization. Well, Latrice, we know you are definitely someone who promotes us and yeah, next week is your week to potentially win this gift card. So Margaret is saying, exceptional meeting. Thank you so much for all the helpful information and time you invested in us today. Absolutely. This is my passion. I want to see as many of us win as we possibly can. So God bless everyone. I will see you next week. And how to invest in hotels. If you want to invest in hotels, that's going to happen on Wednesday. We will be sending notices tomorrow. That's going to happen on Wednesday. So Tracy Prigmore is coming back to talk about that. So Chessie is saying, thank you. I'll pass along to my D&I group at work. We're starting a book club and the first on the list is a Black Tax. Yeah, I have that. I haven't read it yet, but I've listened to a couple of lectures by the authors. So perfect. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. And hopefully we'll see you on Wednesday for how to invest in hotels. And of course, tomorrow night, the Bet on Black